more constraints come from when people get injured, overdo themselves, work through pain, or work through compensations, and they just a lot of times think, no pain, no gain. Yes, you mentally can push through a difficult thing, but knowing that there's higher risk.
Yeah.
And what's the risk versus reward? Go back to our previous episode on smart training.
Yeah.
Go down to, let's say on YouTube, it says show transcription right below in the description below. Highlight the whole transcription. It's pretty much every word that we say. You upload, you copy and paste that. You put this at the bottom of this constraint prompt.
Taking a little nugget out of our LLM in a way.
Absolutely.
To help you, yeah.
Might as well. We did half the work for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. You can also mention, say, at the end of 2 or 3 of my workouts this week, please add in 3 or 4 joint-friendly rehabilitative movements for my shoulder instead of, and maybe even mention that I don't want to do any strength training right now for my shoulder, but I do want some helpful FRC-focused joint-friendly workouts or rehabilitative movements for my shoulder instead. And then always do those at the end of the workout just to make sure that it's warmed up and it's helpful towards the end of the workout.
Welcome to the Functional Code, your go-to source for decoding optimal health. Join Dr. Addy and Dr. Jace as they break down the science behind pain, performance, longevity, and more, making complex concepts easy for you to understand and apply in your life. Your journey to a healthier you begins with understanding the Functional Code.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Functional Code. We are excited to bring you guys today another episode. We are in our AI series right now. Today we're going to be talking about why AI training plans might get people injured. Now, I know a lot of you have probably already used AI for so many things in your life. We have too. We want you guys to. But there are other things that we need to be thinking about prior to doing some of these things regarding health, wellness, longevity, working out. And so today we're going to be guiding you through that. As always, I am Dr. Addy.
And I am Dr. Jace. Yeah, I feel like we're using AI more and more, like I know we were talking.
Way more.
Prior to, it's all last weekend. I was prompt engineering, a bunch of other things involved with that.
I told you that I use AI to search things instead of Google now, which is wild.
And then it's diving into Gemini versus Claude AI versus
Which I'm getting
Gronk.
there. I still only really use ChatGPT. I know you have used way more of the different engines. Do you find a difference between them?
Yes and no. I also don't have the memory database of the ChatGPT comparatively to like Gronk or Gemini or Claude.
Got it.
So I don't know if it's because of that, if it's easier to compare or not.
Got it.
Similar-ish outputs.
Your LLM is way bigger on ChatGPT. Yeah.
My database.
Yeah.
It's huge. Yeah.
And that makes a difference. A lot of people, I'm sure if you've started to use AI, you'll realize that. But it gets better when you've been using it longer because it starts to remember how you want things. And that's that's my favorite part, how it's becoming so much more like a Jarvis for you. If you're familiar with the Marvel movies with Iron Man.
Dude, I can only see it go in that direction.
I would want that. I can't wait for
that. So like for today's episode, using training with AI. Now, the reason why we're bringing some of this up is we're wanting you to start to create your database, to start using these different AIs, what works best for you, what doesn't. Maybe one you have preference to, maybe one you don't. So that can start laying the foundation and the database that you use most often, especially the consistent same chats opened on each platform or AI system, will start understanding your schedule, understanding what you want, and then you can even add in like YouTube videos and the transcription of certain people you want to listen to or follow, especially related to functional range conditioning specialists, and input that transcript into the chat so it has a working memory. You can also have it scour the web for more insight there too. But in terms of today, if you can remember back in the day when you were Googling where are the top 5 restaurants, where are the top 10 exercises for your body, we're going to do that, but in prompt engineering. So the top 3 prompts specific for you related to AI training. And once you use this over a period of time, you'll be surprised on how well it's going to help you and your system and schedule and everything involved.
And I just want to make a note too. So obviously getting into teaching how to do this, we just want you to understand this isn't going to replace a personal trainer.
Yes.
And we have many friends who are personal trainers and they're very good at what they do. And if you feel like you don't have a lot of, let's say, experience in the gym or working out, by and large, you're going to get so much more from an expert versus just AI. Now, it's not to say that you still can't use AI as a tool to help you, but when you truly need to conquer obstacles, going to the expert is still why AI is going to be tough to replace a lot of these individuals. So that's just something we want you to know before moving into this. There's still a lot that can be missed, and so just always take what AI says with a grain of salt. We're going to teach you how to do it safely, and if there are still some things to think about when doing this, what to move through and think about.
And I think that's where AI will come in. And when you start bringing that up, I'm thinking, okay, so what is the main barrier for mass adoption to where AI can start taking over other disciplines? We're obviously not there yet, but with Meta, Facebook, the glasses, and related to their watch band, with more people wearing the glasses, it's going to probably start picking up movements, tendencies.
I would agree.
And then it'll start creating memory from there.
Yeah.
So that's my theory.
So you're saying it's going to become extremely personal based off of the data that it's collecting on how you're moving?
Based on if you're wearing the AI wearables glasses, so it can pick up that information and you add reps in time, because like we said, it's a database.
Yeah. But it's going to be, and maybe this will come, but there's still so much nuance to humans and versus the other person. And that's where AI is still going to have a huge difficulty based off of one person to the next. So as much as we're going to dive in on how to teach you this, we still want you guys to just use this as a tool. It is not the expert, and always have some thought of what should or should not be listening to if it starts to put out information that doesn't make sense.
100%.
Yeah.
So Doc, that goes, I think, back into how can someone start creating this data of information relevant for them long term, but specific to the most updated research possible. And I think honestly that's where and why we favor so much towards this functional range conditioning.
Yeah.
So what are some like maybe small nuggets, tools that you can take away from to help start or have others start creating their databases so they can start pulling information to help make their prompts better long term?
In terms of what we're talking about today, the biggest thing is going to be introducing the information to AI about yourself regarding your, let's say, maybe your weaknesses or your inconsistencies or maybe struggles and behaviors. So you can explain injuries that you've had or treatments that you're currently going under because of your injuries, limitations that you're having, modifications you're doing because of it, and maybe you can even grade these certain weaknesses or experiences somehow, some way, whether it's a pain scale or whether it's a function scale. And even as deep as you can get to, let's say I do this certain movement or exercise and I am debilitated. I'm like a 0 out of 10 function, like I have to take a 1-day break because it was painful. These are helpful things that can help to influence the AI system to help create better protocols for you. Doc, is there any other things that you can think of that they can also introduce to AI?
Oh God, there's so much. And some of this we're going to get more specifically into it with the top 3 prompts related to training that you can utilize specifically for yourself. I think the more of a concern I have for most people is having the database information and whatever information it pulls from majority, is it specific enough? And I don't think there's enough information as a whole out there to be specific. So more or less what I mean, are you training joints? Are you training tendons, ligaments? Are you training muscles?
Good point.
And that's the part with the functional range conditioning. It goes into more specificity, so it understands your body. We're not just talking generic movements like a bench press. We're talking the front inside portion of your shoulder, tendon, sprain, strain, how can we start healing that specifically to allow your body to heal better long term, but then also to optimize certain movements that you have in your everyday life. And bench press could be worked into it. It just takes it another layer deeper,
right,
more or less.
Which again comes with the using the expert in harder,
yes,
complex cases. And let's say you did create a plan for yourself. You did your best to stay safe while using the prompt. You went and tried to start working out, do some of the things, but you still felt like you either weren't making progress or maybe you were still sore or hurt. That's where you're like, you know what, it's time to use an expert.
So true.
Yeah.
So, Doc, let's see here. What are certain things that you've used AI with in regards to training, and what are certain things that you want to try to improve yourself?
I would say the way that I use AI right now for my workout programs, I already it already knows a fair amount about the philosophy that I have based off of the words that I've given it. A lot of the times I'll always prompt it to be more FRC focused right away. So and I've built all my plans out the same, which is daily mobility, ISOs, just protective movements first.
Love that.
And I think it already understands that, which is helpful because I don't have to keep asking it. But if it doesn't, I'll still reintroduce that as the prompt. But I'm using obviously my knowledge, our knowledge that we've gained over the years. But that's a very quick way is if there's a certain philosophy or certain measure that you already are using, explaining that to AI is super helpful. So that way it understands that which tone, which way it wants to create it for you. But and there's always a difference because there are some. Every patient's the same, and so I do have a lot more prompt change going into it prior to creating the prompt, which is explaining the difficulties that this patient's been having, and also what I'm expecting, like my outcome, right? Using the RCOPE, and most of the time, I end up switching or changing it to my own way after a while. I allow it to give me kind of like a baseline, and then I tend to work off of it because exactly what you just said, it just doesn't become specific enough for some of these patients' issues. So it saves me a lot of time because it gives me like a foundation to work off of, so I don't have to like set it all up, and then I basically just pick, choose, switch, change, and make it way more specific to the patient. And it's helpful. It is, and I do hope it does get there to where I don't have to do a lot extra change and work. How about you, Doc? What have you finding yourself, either ways that you've had to change prompts or what has come out of the prompt? Have you noticed that it's exactly what you're wanting, or do you find yourself needing to change certain things?
I think it's changed over time. Like when I first started using it, it was giving me somewhat of generic exercises. Then I went more in depth with the functional range conditioning practitioners, like looking up Dr. Andrew Spina and saying pull all information related to his YouTube page and then provide that link, and added in other people that are related to that system. That got better. It still was missing, and this is where I think I've gotten better in the recent, is the intensity levels. Related back to, if you guys are familiar from our previous episodes, I think that's on like smart training episode, to where we talk about detrain, retrain, and stimulate. It's pretty much the intensity in which you generate. Are you contracting? Are you having the highest amount effort possible at 100%, i.e. stimulating? Or is it a mixture of like anywhere from like 40 to 85% intensity in the retrain zone? Or are we like 40-ish% your max intensity? And that's going to be more the detrain related to more mobility, longevity. So giving it more context information and the amount of reps on that has greatly improved. And then now adding in my daily check-in, I think I definitely want to add in like a workout check-in as well, because I like one of these, like the third one on the top 3 prompts. I think it's going to be gold, because it turns into like almost like a personal trainer, but it's more of a therapist in terms of how How was that workout for you? Were you more fatigued going in? What are some of the recovery steps afterwards that you can use? So it's taking not only that session, but going into that session and out of the session to help you.
Have you done this yet?
More, not necessarily related to training,
Okay.
but more related to like my everyday, like mental acuity.
Got it.
In terms of if I'm overwhelmed, if my schedule's crazy busy, it tends, I'd say, a morning check-in, and it says, awesome, these are things planned for the day. Let's start off with maybe some down, exhale breathing, and then slowly ramp up to get you prepped for the day. So it's scheduled and tailored to my
Do you find the
schedule.
recommendations are always helpful?
Most times,
Most
yeah.
of the time?
Like I also tell it if we have to do an audible based on certain things that come up, it can quickly transition, but it's you relaying information to the chat, the AI, the database, so it can make certain
awesome.
changes.
That's awesome.
And that's where I think like we're gonna automatize everything.
And that's one
Yeah.
that I think more people just need reminders on, is the best ways to just give yourself some
Yes.
time. Mental health changes, meditative states, anything like that. I think most people just forget and could use helpful personalized reminders.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even with this train, don't even think of it as like a box of just workouts or going to the gym. Think about it as, are you able to add in different, maybe like habits, activities, adult sporting groups?
Oh, baby, yeah, that's
or
great.
Or like yoga session, running club.
Yeah, you tell her what you want to
There's
do.
a lot of stuff.
I have friends who hate the gym. And I have a friend who loves using ClassPass, the app. Have you heard of ClassPass?
What is ClassPass?
ClassPass is a app where you pay to get credits, and these conglomerate of facilities or companies in the area pay to use the app. And then you
Gotcha.
basically use the credits as currency to any place you want to go here in Arizona. So, for example, and it's not just that, it's pretty much across the country.
Interesting.
You could go to a yoga spot one day, use the credits, next day go to a Pilates place with the same, that is included on the class.
Okay.
Next place, go to bar. Next place, go to spin cycle. Next place, go to HIIT. Next, and whatever you want to do.
Wow.
And you just then could customize it how you want based off of how many credits you have purchased. And each class is relatively, whether it's 2 to 4 to 6 credits, and I think you get like 50 credits a month or 100 credits a month. It just depends on how much you want to pay. But what you could even see doing there is, hey, I don't go to the gym. I instead choose to do this. However, I want to do 4 to 6 days a week, but I don't want to overtrain. So what are some classes that I should choose? How many of which classes should I choose each time? What should that schedule look like? And I have this many credits. Maybe you can just completely build that all out, and it'll do the math for you. It'll tell you where you need to go, things you should include in along the way, recovery things. Wow. And you can actually do recovery. There's recovery gyms that you can go do cold plunges you can pay for and all that stuff too. Yeah, it's great.
Dude, that goes back to my other thought. I think I sent this to you, text the other day of like new gyms coming up, and I know we're probably headed down a small rabbit hole here, but on how gyms of the future, and this is one guy's theory perspective, but I thought it was interesting.
I thought it was interesting too.
The gyms of the future, quote, it's a gym, but it's also a community, like office spaces, a restaurant, like a healthy restaurant or a cafe bar, other maybe small activities, all within one hub.
Yep.
So it pretty much is all one-stop shop, but more related to fitness community building, which makes a lot of sense.
All right. As Doc was saying, AI does many things, and I think we still just have to continue to remind ourselves of the things that it cannot do. So when starting a training plan, I do want everyone to understand what AI will do well. It will organize a training week for you, absolutely. It will organize it, it will make it look pretty, you can put in a graph for you, and you won't have to bust out Excel. It's very helpful.
Especially if you use Google and Google Docs or Google Calendar, Google Gemini, you can talk to it, and then it can upload straight into your calendar.
Yep.
I haven't messed with Claude or ChatGPT. Doesn't have it has integrations, but it won't pull up and add in stuff into your calendar. You have to go through Google Gemini.
So
there's
that's
some
the next step is if you did want to put it into your calendar, Gemini would be a great addition if you have a Gmail.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It can categorize movements logically. It can suggest exercise variations. It can even reduce decision fatigue, but it cannot feel your pain. It cannot sense fatigue. It cannot detect joint irritation. It cannot understand stress, sleep, life constraints. It also cannot tell you if you're doing something wrong. So that's where, again, you just have to be mindful of the things it can and cannot do. Doc, is there anything else that you feel like people need to know before obviously starting in with prompt engineering their own training plans?
Some of these things that it fails to do right now, if you build up your database, it can optimize and move in that direction of certain things it can eventually be able to do. Example, what I mean by that is, like, obviously it can't feel the pain, but if you talk and create a whole, let's just say, AI agent or a chat that can recognize how you are feeling after X workout, and if the AI knows how you're feeling, whether it's sick, previously injured, and then add in multiple sessions, maybe of a similar workout, it can start understanding how does your body react, especially if you give it how you are feeling moving external stress going into the workout and how is it feeling after workout and maybe the day after. So there is some adaptation of certain things that eventually I'm sure we'll be able to, especially as it gets better and
But
better.
it can only do that without more information.
Exactly.
Yeah, good point.
Exactly.
Yeah, good point.
So yeah, create your database, people.
All right, docs, let's dive in on how to do this. So
Yes.
for the first prompt, I didn't, you put this together.
Either or.
We create a safe weekly framework without pretending to know your body. So what Doc really meant by that was, how can we prompt engineer a workout plan that stops from sudden spikes or stressors that can make things worse in terms of weights, max effort, consistency. We're going to obviously try to reduce as much chaos to your body, make this feel comfortable as we move forward in the first part. So back to RCOPE, that's going to be the foundation always, is what we're doing. Role, we want to act as we want AI to act as a conservative strength and conditioning coach focused on longevity and durability. So Doc already has all of this built.
Beautiful. And I have an example of a random schmo or a person named Alex, 41 years old, male, train age, or 15 years of training. His goal is strength hypertrophy without joint pain.
Nice. Like it.
He has a busy job, inconsistent sleep, and he has a history of a right shoulder irritation with lower back tightness. So as we go through this first prompt and creating the structure, we're going to give you an outline. You just have to fill in. Better the prompt is, the more detail you add in. So yes, this is very bare bones, but you can see how, as we're adding this into the equation, that we're going to see what it pops out. So this goes back to role. Like, role is act as a conservative strength and conditioning coach, focus on longevity and durability. I would also add in functional range conditioning specialist or coach into that.
Would you argue that I like to train in the style of C-Bum or Dorian Yates? Do you feel like that would be helpful?
It will probably pull from either YouTube videos that person's put out, social media, or anything on the web. So whatever highlights them related to X topic, i.e. training, it's probably going to pull and have a similar type of workout style. If you have a bunch of people together, it can start putting what are the commonalities of all of them.
Blends them. So good point.
Maybe adding multiple people in a similar framework, but just something to think about.
Cool.
So,
very cool.
Yeah, the role can be a lot longer than you think, but yeah.
So for the objective, you put hypertrophy for him, correct?
So for the objective, build a weekly training structure to support strength, hypertrophy, while prioritizing joint health and longevity. Yes. Yep.
And then for parameters?
Parameters, do not prescribe exact weights or max effort. Include at least 2 rest or recovery focused days.
Nice.
Keep total weekly volume conservative. Prioritize joint friendly variations.
Love it.
Flag movements that commonly irritate the shoulder or lower back.
Oh, that's great.
So
that's awesome.
It's giving you ideas on constraints. And there's so many others you can add into that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then expected output.
So expected output, we have weekly schedule with training focus per day. This is, again, what we want it to give us out, but more context related to us. So again, that's weekly schedule with training focus per day. The second one is movement categories rather than load prescription. And the other one is going to be warm up and cool down structures.
Very crucial.
Love that.
Very crucial.
And the last one is 3 substitution options per movement pattern if pain shows up. So it has like a backup plan in case something comes up, but we're still able to do movements.
Love this.
Again, there's just so much more. That
I'm
you
always
can add
excited
in
to
there.
see what it creates.
I agree. Let's do it actually on Claude,
Okay.
because I'm curious to see. So
And so we were looking this up
paste.
prior because I wanted to know what Claude was. So Claude is owned by a company called Anthropic.
See if this works.
Now it's owned by itself by Anthropic. However, Google and Amazon have both invested into this AI. So
Thank
I don't
you.
know, tick what you will with that.
So it's shooting out a weekly train schedule. It goes Monday through Sunday, but Monday is upper body strength, Tuesday lower body strength, Wednesday recovery / active rest, Thursday full body hypertrophy, Friday upper body, Saturday lower, and then Sunday active recovery rest. And it goes into specifics on each one, so it creates that variability.
Okay.
You could probably also ask the chat below, can you give me more specifics or in-depth knowledge behind that? But I'm sure as we go through, it'll go more in depth. So it goes into the daily movement categories, working on horizontal push, vertical pull, vertical push again, core stability, squat variations, hinge variations, lunge movements. And then you can even ask it on below, give me a YouTube link related to core stability or related to this lateral movement.
Yeah.
And it has a bunch of other options of specific exercises.
I do find that super helpful.
Yeah, it helps. Yeah.
It finds links very quick for me, which is great.
Love that.
Yeah.
For me, I have a foundation, so I just explore a little bit and
For
focus
sure.
on certain things. But
For sure.
that's just me. And then it has below additional notes like sleep and recovery to prioritize sleep hygiene, joint health, hydration, nutrition. And then at the bottom, it has some other questions. What are some benefits of incorporating dynamic strength and mobility into a warm-up routine? So you can just click on that question below and it keeps going more in depth. But
Love this.
So that is Claude. I have a feeling Gemini is going to be something similar. And I don't know if anyone has actually went through the same prompt with multiple AI systems. So next we're going to do the same prompt for the top prompt, but going into Gemini. Now it gives us a similar type of weekly schedule, upper A, push-pull, Tuesday lower A, squat hinge, Wednesday active recovery, Thursday, same thing, push-pull, Friday lower.
It has
hip
full
snatch.
recovery back to back though, which is interesting. And at an active recovery on Wednesday. Okay.
And then with this Google Gemini, you can say export to Sheets or Google Sheets, so we can start creating that foundation there. And then it goes into movement, categories, and structure, so specific movements. The warm-up, cool down actually has some interesting picture. Substitute option. It has substitute options, better and better laid out in
Nice.
Google Gemini, red flags. And then obviously there's that ChatGPT. I'm gonna be calm. Well, we should be just fine. So we're gonna also see how it gives us here. And this is just a whole new chat. Similar lower body squat pattern, trunk stability. Day 2, upper body horizontal push pull, scapular control, recover capacity day, lower body, upper body, and then rest recovery. And this goes way more into, because I think, again, this is the database. So for the ChatGPT,
What it has for you? Yeah,
it says squat patterns, unilateral lower body movement, so like single leg kind of work. There's just the terminology is way different because, again, obviously it's pulling from a larger database of stuff that we've talked about before. Way more knowledge. I don't know if that's completely ChatGPT itself.
No, but
or if we're
I bet
biased
I bet
towards
you
it.
it'll look much different on mine.
Oh, I
100% it
have
will.
a feeling that's the
Yeah.
case. So, like, you guys can see there's differences, but again, it's laying that foundation,
Yeah.
that memory data storage. So, yeah, that's prompt 1 to create the structure of the weekly workout plan related to you. Again, more information on each prompt, the better. So, yeah, Doc, let's go into the second one.
Yeah. So
Cool, man.
if anyone had any questions on prompt 1, please comment below. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you tried this for yourself and what
Yeah.
it gave you. And then let us know how you feel about it. If you felt it was good, what grade you give it, if there's anything you feel like that missed or needs to improve on. We're still just learning this among ourselves too. But we'd love to hear more from you guys. So The next prompt would be one of constraint. So trying to help modify the structure that you have to maybe reduce injury, or if you even are avoiding volume because of a certain injury. So that's going to be where we have guardrails put up. Maybe there is more focus on longevity, trying to figure this out for a maybe more safer and volume reduced output. Would you agree?
Agreed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of times with training, more constraints come from when people get injured, overdo themselves, work through pain, or work through compensations, and they just a lot of times think, no pain, no gain. I'm not a fan of that comment. Yes, you mentally can push through a difficult thing, but knowing that there's higher risk,
Yeah.
and what's the risk versus reward aspect.
Yeah.
So
I would
that's what this is.
say if you're trying to become a world-class bodybuilder, a Mr. Olympia, obviously it's much different. But for most, we're just trying to improve our health, improve our body comp without needing to look like Ronnie Coleman. A lot of that, what you maybe heard on social media and watching your biggest bodybuilders, doesn't quite apply.
Yeah.
It won't.
Agreed.
Unless you have different expectations or goals for your body.
And for this prompt, I would strongly encourage, go back to our previous episode on smart training.
Yeah.
Go down to, let's say on YouTube, it says show transcription right below in the description below. Highlight the whole transcription. It's pretty much every word that we say. You upload, you copy and paste that. You put this at the bottom of this constraint prompt. For copying that in, just say relate information from this podcast to help better generate this prompt for myself, comma, paste that whole transcription. It'll go more in depth on, specifically for this one, on more the stimulus, detrain, retrain, the intensity zones, so it can start giving way more context related specifically to you.
Yeah. Taking a little nugget out of our LLM in a way.
Absolutely.
To help you, yeah.
Might as well. We did half the work for you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Doc, what is the RCOPE for this prompt?
Yes. Okay, so again, this is another random person. So for the prompt, the role is act as a longevity first training designer. Again, we can go more in depth with this in terms of looking at, you can say looking at the perspective of a functional range conditioning specialist, i.e. a bunch of other stuff from there. Now, the second one, context. Current training schedule is 4 days a week. Typical sleep is anywhere from 6 to 6.5 hours per night on average. The stress level is moderate to high due to work demands. Equipment available includes a full commercial gym, or maybe if you don't have gym access, then you can say only an at-home gym, or I just have, the only options are the environment.
Yeah.
Next, in this context, movement limitations include limited overhead tolerance and lumbar stiffness with fatigue, or lower back stiffness with fatigue. The objective portion of the prompt is a modified training structure to reduce injury risk while maintaining progress.
Nice.
Love that. And then the parameters are avoid high-risk volume spikes, include a reduced volume or deload week every 4 to 5 weeks. Love that, especially as you're working through your mesocycles. Next prompt, or next part of the parameters, prioritize progressive exposure over aggressive jumps. If pain exceeds 3 out of 10, then replace movement pattern. And then the expected outcome we want for this is 1, safe progression rules for the next 4 weeks.
Nice.
Red flags indicating when to reduce volume or intensity. And then third is joint-friendly substitutions for shoulder and lower back. So yeah, this is for example, Alex, 22 years old. So we're going to go back to Claude. We're going to spit this in. We opened up a new chat, so it's not on the same one, so it can pull slightly different. It first reads out longevity, first training design. It goes into first progression rules for the next 4 weeks. So number 1 is week 1 to 2, establish a baseline volume anywhere from 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps per exercise at a moderate intensity. of your 1 rep max. So just think about not pushing yourself incredibly difficult, but a decent amount, but without overdoing it. Then goes into week 3, gradual increase. Week 4, deload, a little lighter week. So you can start seeing how specific it can get to. And not only for each one, it's going to go in volume, frequency, and progression. Then as we're going into some of the other following things that adds in is the red flags indicating when to reduce volume or intensity. So pain levels, fatigue, performance, mood, sleep. It goes into substitutions for certain movements. And for this specifically, as you have the master prompt, let's say you're going into the workout, you want to provide more context. If we do this workout today, give me a couple backups for each one, just in case I injure myself or it feels uncomfortable. So we already have backups in place, so it can have time efficiency. So you can use all these 3 prompts together, but in a different perspective, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So again, that's Claude AI. We don't think it's necessary to go through Gemini or ChatGPT, but again,
you kind of get the picture of the variances. Okay.
Now this next one, Doc, this is the feedback prompt, and from my experience with the other AI of the daily check-ins, I think this is worth its weight in gold, and I would strongly suggest.
So do you maybe want to just give some background on how you should be using AI if you are wanting to do more of a feedback-based prompt day by day or maybe week by week?
So this will include, and this will be on your responsibility in either a daily or weekly basis. And if you skip a day, give yourself grace. The AI I don't think cares as much. Again, the more context, the better, whether it's how you're feeling for the day. I might be feeling sick, I feel fatigued, I have a busier work day, and it can auto-regulate more on the training cycle. Is it worth going to this workout or is it not? We need to take a lighter workout. So you can work that with the second prompt that we just had of having backups in place just in case something is irritated. It can go into the whole progression itself. So I would strongly suggest this for most people. So for example, like what this necessarily looks like for you and how to set this up is, let's go through the RCOPE. So the role, act as a training auditor, focus on recovery and long-term progress. You can also say add in weekly, daily check-ins, relate to my training schedule to help me throughout this 4-week or 8-week or yearly training progress. Context, here's my last week, sessions completed, X amount. Let's actually go into the actual specifics. Ooh, there you are. Okay, so sessions completed last week, 3 out of 4. Average sleep, about 6 hours a night. Average soreness, 6 out of 10. Oh boy, that's high. Stress level, high. Pain notes, mild shoulder ache after pressing. Performance notes, lower body felt strong. Upper body felt fatigue earlier than expected. So you can see how the more feedback you give with certain movements in certain positions, it can start putting all the pieces together. Now the next part is the objective. Adjust next week's training plan to maintain progress while reducing injury risk. You can also say adjust each workout day by day or week by week or workout by workout based on how I am feeling, so I am moving in the right direction without getting injured or something like that. And then in terms of parameters, do not increase total weekly volume more than 5%. Love that it has a barrier so you're not over pushing yourself. It also has in, if sleep remains below 5.5 hours for 2 or more nights, reduce intensity. Love that. Like that's gonna be so important. Less risk of injury. And then it also has, if shoulder pain exceeds 3 out of 10, substitute pressing with joint-friendly variations.
Nice.
Now the expected outcome, give me next week's adjustments with reasoning, 2-3 recovery actions with the highest return. And then the last one, a simple autoregulation rule set I can reuse weekly. You can also say regulate workout by workout based on how I'm feeling while collecting data to give me better insight moving forward, workout by workout. So in terms of the top 3 prompts related to training, let's go actually
And
check
as Doc is
GPT.
pulling that up, I'm just going to also add, you can also mention, say, at the end of 2 or 3 of my workouts this week, please add in 3 or 4 joint-friendly rehabilitative movements for my shoulder instead of, and maybe even mention that I don't want to do any strength training right now for my shoulder, but I do want some helpful FRC-focused joint-friendly workouts or rehabilitative movements for my shoulder instead. And then always do those at the end of the workout just to make sure that it's warmed up and it's helpful towards the end of the workout.
Love that.
Yeah.
And I think a key thing to add in, at least I know for ChatGPT, I haven't messed with Claude or Gemini too much yet, or Gronk for that example, but for this last prompt specifically, go back to the same prompt. Don't open up a new chat, so that way it can keep all the information as a whole Rolodex of information for how you are doing visit by visit, training by training days. So it spits out, after we give it a little bit of an example with a randomized person, the session structure, keep 4 planned sessions, lower back bias maintained, upper body volume redistributed, goes into intensity management, upper lower body days, especially with rate of perceived exertion. And again, this is on ChatGPT, so it's going to go a little bit more in depth for this example. Next, it goes into exercise selection adjustments for shoulder specifically, whether it's substitute barbell bench, overhead press, to cables, or doing it laying face down instead of standing.
Sure.
It goes into the 3 highest return recovery actions.
Ooh, very nice.
Like sleep extension via timing control. The target is 45 to 60 minutes in bed, but not necessarily sleep, so you're putting you in the right environment. It goes into intra-session fatigue management, adding 1 to 2 minutes of rest to upper body movement, like compound movements, so it adds in more rest within the workout itself. And has daily decompression, blood flow movements for the shoulder to help with the recovery aspect for the injury.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
And then it spits out a simple weekly autoregulation rule set. So this can be reusable. So a sleep gate, it goes into pain gate, performance gate. So there's so much that you guys can gather, but be more specific for you.
And now, obviously, as you move forward, just make sure to give it, and sometimes you can even ask it, hey, today's my check-in, what do you need from me to continue to create progress or make changes to my plan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the top 3 prompts related to training. There's more information we're going to get to you guys here as these days go by and as we move forward into the AI series. But
yeah, I think that was a great overview on how to get started. Again, this is not a replacement for experts, but mainly just a tool to help you as you move forward and progress. If you need, please always ask help with the experts. That's the ones who are going to get you much farther ahead. But if this is something you feel comfortable doing yourself, you've maybe been more experienced, and this is just something you need over time to help you keep on task and as efficient as possible, obviously this is a great way to do it. So
absolutely.
As always, please share and subscribe. We appreciate each and every one of you. Look forward into the future. We are actually going to be putting out some more prompt packs for everyone to use to make that easier for themselves day to day. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Disclaimer, the content provided in this health podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or 911 immediately. Reliance on any information provided in this podcast is solely at your own risk. The creators and hosts of this podcast are not responsible for any actions or decisions you may take based on the information presented.
Thanks for joining us on The Functional Code. For more evidence-based health insights, subscribe, rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, your journey to a healthier you begins with understanding the functional code. Until next time, stay well, stay informed, and embrace the science of living well.